Hello, deconstructing my YouTube setup component by component. Today we're dealing with my database management software, which I wrote myself, but really you don't need this. It's basically just a glorified spreadsheet with a little bit of extra functionality in. So I'll run you through how I manage my YouTube channel. So I keep a record of every single video that I write, and they all go in here. And the main reason is to remind me what I've done. So this is a really easy reference point for me to go in and say, right, well, if I'm doing my Cubase tutorial, what are the episodes I've already made? I can scroll up and down here and check that stuff out. Occasionally, I probably won't even be able to find an example of one. If there's something that I need to make particular reference to, I've got an episode notes where I can it's basically just like a notepad, and I can update that individual episode. At the outset, when I started my channel, I had all sorts of like convoluted plans of different kinds of video content that I was going to make in different named series, and really it's boiled down to Back on Track and everything else. They are still technically called building blocks episodes, all of these separate video tutorials. They might be VST tutorials on an Arturia product or general Cubase tips or whatever it happens to be, but that's basically everything else. So here we can see the series that I'm currently writing. Once I've finished recording this video, I'll create, in fact, let's do it now. So if I create an episode 8, which is going to be called OMAHS Manager, create, and that's that there now. In the overview, this allows me to keep a record of everything that I've done week by week. So what did I release in week 44? Here's week 46, so for instance, and these are the videos that I've released this week. I had a flurry over the last couple of days where I very rarely release more than one a day. Week 0 is different from all of the others. This is the stuff that I haven't released yet. I tag stuff that hasn't been released yet because it doesn't have a URL. So basically the trick is I recreate the episode as soon as I've recorded it. So I now know all of the episodes that I've created. When I release them to YouTube, as you saw in my previous episode, I copy the URL, paste it in here, click update, and when I click update and it updates the database, that basically tells the application that this is now released. So it takes it out of my week 0 list. This VC670 compressor has become something of a cherished item. I recorded that way back when. It was one of the very first videos that I recorded. Never got around to releasing it. It's now, pretty shocking compared with the stuff that I'm producing now. So if I ever go back, I'll basically watch that video, get all of the information back in my head and re-record it. But it's just kind of, an old friend who just sits there unreleased forever. But this is the stuff that I've recorded this week and haven't yet released. Back on track stuff is the songs that I'm currently writing. So there are 3 ongoing songs at the moment. So you can see with Borderline and Killer, this is pretty much the only copy of the lyrics, the only written copy of the lyrics that they're in digital form. So they've been copied out of my written notes. Which one's this? So this is Borderline here. So I basically just, once Pauline sung them, I'll transcribe them in here, and when it's ready to release to my website, I'll copy these and paste them into my website page. So this allows me to keep track of the songs that I'm in the process of writing. This is complete tag over here. Allows me to throw away the stuff, hide the stuff that has already been finished, and I've got this view completed projects. So if I tick that, go back into Back on Track, that's all the songs that I've written since I started the channel. And you can see the is complete tag. I've got the playlist URL as opposed to each individual episode URL here as well. This thing is neither here nor there. It basically means when I tick on a box, does it, highlight the text, so it's easy to just kind of overwrite. For each series of videos, I have series notes. So here is my system setup stuff. As you saw in my YouTube video, that's what I copy and paste into the description. Those are the tags that I copy and paste into the options box. Here's my general series description. And anything down here is specific to the individual episode. and that's created automatically when I click that create button. That just gets input into the database, and it also auto tracks all of the episode numbers. I don't have to, when I created that OMAHS manager record there, it knows that it's episode number 8. Then we've got some reports that I can produce. I very rarely use these, to be absolutely honest. This was me just getting a little bit carried away. So if I want a complete record of all the activity on the My System Setup video series, for instance, it just collates all of the individual episode information together, and I can see all of that. You can see I'm not a big user of my notes section, and there's everything that's unreleased, which is basically the week 0 stuff. This lyrics search thing, I'm kind of obsessed with using the same word over and over again. There's a little bit of a kind of lyrical sub-theme thing going on there. So for instance, if you look for the word river and do a lyric search, this basically searches through all of my songs, all of the lyrics for all of my songs, and just extracts out every sentence that contains that word. So you can see all of the various different times that I've used the word river. I think from memory, fall is one of the bigger hits. Yeah, it's just all those instances of the word fall. And it's kind of cool. I don't do it deliberately, but when I find it, I'll have a think about whether or not it's just one too many, or oh, go on, another instance of the word river can get in there. In fact, River Run, it actually made its way all the way up into a song title at one point, which I thought was funny. So it's a kind of little mini game that I'm playing with myself. If with the back on track stuff, I take images from freeimages.com or whatever it might be, and I'll always make sure to give the artist credit. So there's the thumbnail art for the image that I've downloaded. That one's from Flickr, as you can see. And right up at the very top, this is like meta information, so some like URLs that apply to the entire project. There's also my ongoing Twitter thing, which is somewhere in the 40s now. Every day since I started it, I've chosen a new song out of my collection and posted it on Twitter. And if you head over to twitter.com/onemanandhissongs with a digital 1, couldn't believe it when I created my channel name. I didn't realise that Twitter had a maximum limit of 14 characters on the usernames. I was so tilted when I found out. So I can't have ONE, One Man and His Songs. I had to replace the ONE with a number 1. Drives me absolutely bonkers. So that's it anyway. There's my OMAHS manager. You can accomplish all of this with a spreadsheet and a few notes, but I just fancied creating an application that gave me all of those little bits of functionality. I find it really useful to know what I haven't released yet, because I'm constantly forgetting, and I'll stumble across back on track episodes that I'd recorded 3 weeks ago and forgotten to release. It's a convenient place to keep track of all the lyrics, and the lyric search thing I do use quite a lot. So that's that. Maybe there's a few bits and bobs of information in there that you'll find useful and think, yep, I'll need to make a record of all of that stuff when I start my channel. If you found the episode useful, please consider subscribing, hit notifications, then you find out when the next episode comes out. Hope to see you then. Thanks a lot.